if it's 2000. Like Siobhan's son was called the N-word recently.
Yeah, I read that, and that's exactly what I was going to.
His mom did like clap back, and the whole world it became a thing. So it is a different upbringing, right? But it's but one thing I don't want to do is like I think every experience is a Black experience, whether it is in the ghetto or in Bel Air.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't even say like like for me personally, right? Like I didn't grow up in the hood.
Right.
I lived bordering. Like I lived in,
right.
Like if I go like I ride my bike, I see it. Right. I'd be playing basketball with those guys. Right. And like I lived again in Scarborough, so like depending on where you live, you can live in a Black area, a white area, Chinese area, brown area.
Right.
I lived in Asian Court, so there's a lot of Asian. There's a Asian Court, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of Asians there.
Yeah.
Right? So my neighborhood, when we moved there, it was a mix of people, and then it slowly started becoming all Chinese.
Yeah.
Right, but then again, Glendower, Chester Lee, where like where my mom lived, and Glendower was right there. So like I'd be in the hood all the time, and I'd be in school with those kids. So I had my Black friends.
Right.
Or like when I go outside riding my bike, I'd ride further than I'm supposed to, and go hang out with the Black, because that's where people are playing ball.
And that's how comfortable you were.
Right. Yeah. Right. And because my mom, when my mom came to Canada, she lived in Chester Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So my godfather, my godmother, my godsisters, they're all in Chester Lee. So if my mom needed to go somewhere, she left me in Chester Lee.
Right.
The Caribbean grocery store, Nicey's, is in Chester Lee.
Yeah.
So we'd be there anyway. So like I know the community. They know me. Right. Versus say like Siobhan's son, for example, like he's in Whitby. Right. He's never been in that situation. And like he's grown up doing ballet.
Mm-hmm.
But should he be in that situation?
No. I'm not saying
to be a Black person, like
no, and I'm not. And that's the further
saying, like
that's the first thing
to a majority.
I think I'm going to the extreme. Like I'm going over here.
Yeah.
Let me listen to you to hear what you're really trying to say.
Yeah, like I'm because like Jamar knows, is like he knows I'm the last person to say, oh, you have to go through this to say you're Black.
Yeah, to be a Black.
Because I was that guy saying, oh, OJ's gay because he has a lot of female friends, or OJ's whitewashed because he speaks like the way he speaks. Like my Scarborough friends, like they to this day call me princess because I moved to Pickering.
Right.
And I went to the school with the uniform. Even though what's funny enough, those same kids, our middle school, we were uniform.
Yeah.
Like our uniform rules weren't as strict. So like we still had our Jordans on, and we had our baggy pants. As long as you're in the uniform, that school rest, very, button up, vest, black shoes, gray pants, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you have to go through like you have to be, dodging bullets and playing hopscotch over crack needles
which would be difficult, I think, would be hard to do.
Right, just to say you're a Black kid. But what I'm saying is that like we could, like our experience, we could relate to that versus if, let's just say, when Mr. Siobhan's son is 20 something, and assuming he's going to be a smart kid, right? And we have this same conversation with him. I'll be like, no, that's not me.
Right.
Like I know everything. Like I would like, speaking from him, he would assume he knows what to do in those situations because he was told.
Right.
Whereas we've been in that fire.
Right.
Right. Versus we don't know the fire he's in.
Right.
Because he could tell us something, and we'd be like, you know what we went through? Has your principal said nigger? Right? Like, have you had to do this? Right? And then it becomes like almost like a compare and contrast, where now he may feel that he's not, quote unquote, Black enough because of what
he has a certain unique challenge.
Yeah. Or
it becomes the oppression Olympics. I think like that kind of what takes place. Especially like one thing I would love to end between Black people is the oppression Olympics. Like everyone's like, who's most oppressed? Like who's been through the most shit, and how does that legitimize your blackness because, like, you know what I mean? Like, who's been through the most things, and based on who's been through the most things or who's had the most
black
cousins, you are the winner of the Special Olympics, meaning you're black. Look, look, black is not visas. It's not accepted anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of what it is. It's like no matter
the most and not
you will be the richest person, and we see that on TMZ. You'll be the richest, most baller person. Beyonce gets disrespect. Oprah gets disrespect. Down to the crack.
No, you could grow up. You could grow up rich. Like LeBron James's son. He knows nothing but money.
Nothing.
He didn't grow up like LeBron.
No.
He grew up legit the complete opposite.
But and then also like that's what we want, right?
No, yeah, but the thing what I'm getting to is he still has people at basketball games throwing things at him and calling him so on and so forth, and because one, he's LeBron's son.
Yeah.
And two, he's a black kid.
Right. I think there's a certain level of resentment that comes with like
I think it is. I think
that comes within the black community of like, well, why do you get to have it good? Like, why do you get to be like? Why I have principals that call me nigger, and you get a full media coverage when a peer calls you nigger? That's it.
Yo, I have people
like it. I get it. Continue.
To speak on that resentment thing, right? Like for the longest time, like in high school, unless you were like a close friend, I never let anyone come to my house.
Right.
Because people like I live in like compared to what I used to live in.
Live in a nice house.
I live in a pretty big house.
It's a very nice house. Okay.
Right? Like you guys been to my house.
And kids are
like
very nice.
Huh? And kids are ignorant.
Yeah, right. Like I live in a pretty nice house. Like I have my own room, I have my own bathroom.
Yeah.
Everything, right? Like I'm in my own world. Right? Yeah. People come in and be like, whoa, OJ's this, OJ's that. OJ's not like I've got told OJ's not black because I live in my house.
Yeah. And like that's crazy. And I feel like as someone that's had Asian friends for a very long time, I've heard I'm not black often, and then I've heard I'm too black enough in certain spaces that relate to like development and education. And so like I heard I'm too black here, not black here. Here's what I think. Number one, it kind of just doesn't really matter because people don't, here's what it is too. I think like the scholarship on blackness no one reads. I've yet to hear people that have these really deep like opinions about like what blackness is ever quote any scholar related those things.
It's
like, number one, it's more so your opinion, and if it's your opinion, it's going to always be based on what you've gone through.
It's a hood scholarship.
And if we've gone through multiple different things, and if I don't know what you've gone through, I'm always comparing with a blind lens. So why would I even? That's not even something of a time of day.
It's very narrow. It's like all right. I'm only looking at what's ahead of me, and if someone's doing great, it's like I don't have time for that. They have all this time and all this money, and they start comparing why they're better. That person's better than them, and why they get that.
But it's crazy, but it's also like, I think it's something that used to bother me a lot because I know I would look, my life is very versatile. I do whatever the fuck I feel like. You know what I mean? It's like I have never really followed the beat of anyone. So I get a lot of interesting comments about my lifestyle, my choices, my friend groups, And after the while, and it could be annoying, but after you begin to understand, the people speaking don't really understand me. Don't this whole
guys, I'm working.
And it's like, it kind of just like is what it is. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. It kind of is what it is. At the end of the day, really. You know? But it's a very interesting thing that you bring up about being not black enough inside your own house. That's very interesting.
It's weird.
It's not even weird. It makes sense. I think it makes, like, logically it makes sense, and I have a certain level of empathy for those types of sentiments. It's like, I get it. I get you. Like, I get why you would say that. I get why you would think that. I get how you've defined blackness in your own world is very narrow and based on BET, because you aren't actually black American. You're black Canadian, which is a whole other thing. So, like, I get you, but like
the reality is I'm black. Like,
but what you're saying doesn't hold weight. But I'm down to have conversation with you. I'm down to learn about your experiences. I'm down to maybe connect with you, but you don't hold any weight because you don't have actual knowledge.
No, because it's not.
You're ready for that smoke because you know, like, yo, I know who I am.
I know who I am. You really don't know who you are, and
you don't know me.
And you don't know me really, and you're trying to project a bunch of things.
Yeah.
I bless your heart, young friend. Bless your sweetheart.
It's crazy. It's crazy because I think now with all of that, like what did you call it? The oppression Olympics.
Yeah,
So we called it. I like that term. With that breaks down to now that goes even further. That goes even further and extends to support in anything.
Right.
Whereas it's like, OJ and Jamar started a podcast, and from that podcast they want to start a media conglomerate and help Black people put out, like, give Black people a voice, give Black people a microphone. Right? And people will be like, oh, well, you're doing this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm not gonna listen to this because you guys don't talk about, like, it's always, you guys don't talk about what that person wants to hear.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, it's just, like, this one specific group of friends. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, you should talk about battle rap. And I looked at them and I said, why? And no one had an answer for me. They're like, I was like, why? And they're like, because it's sick. And I said, okay, but why?
Go.
Because I said like, I personally, like, I don't want, like, if there's a video on Instagram about, like, something that happened, I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not gonna go out of my way and go look up battle rap
myself, so.
Yeah, and all that stuff. So I was like, that's not that's not something that, like, I'm not saying it can't be a topic one day.
It's just something I'm not interested in.
It's not something that, like, I watch all the time where I'm knowledgeable enough to speak on.
What's crazy is that I feel like one thing I think that saved hip hop in the 2010s is the fact that the reason why Kanye and Kid Cudi and Travis Scott are such a valuable figures in culture is because, and Ava DuVernay and Jordan Peele, they display different Black minds. And I feel like what happened in the 2000s, like, they're very singular Black ways of being. And in the 2010s, we got a myriad of, like, different Black minds saying different things. And then expressing different palettes and expressing different views. And so it's like, what we need is to continue that. And what we need is, like, a variety of voices. So,
and that's the thing. It's not
battle
just
rap.
It's not just 50 Cent talking. It's
not. Like, whatever you guys at the pod do, whatever I do, I'll never do what you do, because that's what your voice is supposed to do. That's what your experiences, your life, and your palette brings to the table.
And that's why we could do this.
And right? And then whatever I would want to do, we could link up, but we're coming from two different
aspects,
thoughts, and it should be like that, because we have to show people that Black people aren't a monolith. We're a variety of
that's you know what
I mean? That's what's important.
That goes back to the original thing. It's like, you're not Black if you don't think a certain way.
Look, what's wild? Say I'm white or even another race, I can do whatever I feel like. I can be a Black person, I can be an Asian person, I can be Indian person, I can be whatever I feel like.
What's a white person?
How many people that you know that aren't Black were very, very
Black? They're like a canvas.
That were very, very Black in high school, but now are not Black. But now,
like a canvas.
Like, I don't know. Like, you can